Broadcasting from Silicon Valley, California, this is Conversations with Jennylyn.
You're watching Conversations with Jennylyn, and today, as always, I try to bring you someone enlightening and fascinating. And I love it when it's another woman. Today, I have a beautiful woman. Her name is Gianna Sullivan, and she is a happiness coach. And she came highly recommended. I was told you have to interview her because she's doing such great things for the world. So I cannot wait to share her with you and have her tell us how she does this. Welcome to Conversations with Jennylyn, Gianna.
Thank you, Jennylyn. It's a tremendous privilege and honor to be here today with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. My friend Tom told me about you and said, you need to do an interview with her, but you will find out what she's doing. And so I was grateful to him for this introduction. And here you are. And we're doing this. We're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me how you started or what made you become a happiness coach, and why do we need a happiness coach?
Well, it started about 26 years ago, actually, when I was at the height of my professional clinical pharmacy career. And I had a divine encounter with God. And when you have a divine encounter with God, you'll never forget it. You'll always remember. And I was a great yuppie growing up, going up the ladder, and like the scales fell off my eyes like St. Paul. And I was invited by God to live my life for the less fortunate and to help restore dignity, healing through love. And he didn't give me the tools how to do that, but medicine being part of my background, then I started a medical mobile clinic going out to people. And back then they didn't have medical mobile clinics. So we started providing, we had like 6 volunteers, and we grew and we grew and we grew slowly, baby steps. And everything was free: medical, dental. We added dental later, but medical, prescriptions, dental, up to 12 free surgeries a year, free ancillary services, free lab. And now it's a national nonprofit. And over the 26 years, I did the pharmacy component, and I was a spokesperson, since I founded Mission Mercy. And then I became a board member. And I never took financial compensation ever. So I worked at little pharmacy jobs on the side so that I could keep up pay my bills and everything. But in the process, I left the board of directors of Mission Mercy because I felt pulled and drawn to God for something. And this happens quite often. Founders move on to give other people the time to serve. And it was like a new birth, a rebirth. It was like I was being called to another commitment with God. And that was what I had seen on Mission Mercy, was the despair and the needing of hope. And now we're in such challenging, unprecedented times. So many people are just filled with fear, some with doubt and guilt. And this is a time period to help them embark on a great passion to make a profound statement of success in their life. So I started Fast Track to Happiness, and now I dedicate my life to helping others, all different types of businesses, and even one-on-one counseling, either spiritual components, the 7 pillars of happiness, and to draw in people to love what they do and do what they love.
This is great. So let's backtrack so that my viewers get it. You were a pharmacist?
I'm still a pharmacist, yeah.
Or you are a pharmacist, and you got God called you. What was the experience you had that catapulted you from just your pharmacy job to starting the mission? I heard you reference a mission, but my viewers don't know what that is. So tell us about that, and tell us what happened during your pharmacy career that ignited this.
I would say that the mission was called Mission of Mercy, and that's what I founded. And I was vice president of a very big healthcare program organization around the country. And during the process, this is where I learned a lot of my management skills. And then during the process, I was very happy in doing my work, but I got this infusion of grace is how I could explain it. It was like a thought that never would be my thought. I knew it wouldn't be something that I would process as a thought of mine. It was instantaneously, and all of a sudden I was overwhelmed with this tremendous light and love, an unspeakable definition of love, an embrace of love, being invited by God by the Lord Jesus to help him love people and reach out to them to restore dignity. That a lot of the people were hurt and angry and starving for love and acceptance. And I wasn't given the tools how to do it, but just that the mission statement was to restore dignity, healing through love, God's love with a big L. And then the other was I had to go out to them. I had to reach out to them instead of them just coming, to the clinic. This is hence the mobile clinic that we would go out to different places. And during my years in pharmacy, and practicing over 33 years now, probably 36, I always had a tremendous dedication to the community. And in pharmacy school, I won the Harold Miller plaque at USC School of Pharmacy as dedicated to the community and service. So I always had a passion for people. And I've always done that since I was a little girl. And so once this happened, I knew in my heart that I was to do something different. What it was, I wasn't quite sure how to do a medical mobile clinic, how to start a nonprofit. You just don't go and start something. And back then I lived in Arizona. So Arizona is very full of, there's many nonprofits there. And so you really can't compete with the nonprofits unless you've established yourself and you have the continuity. And it was just little by little, and we launched.
This is wonderful. So where do you live now?
I'm in Maryland, and we launched in Pennsylvania, Maryland, in Emmitsburg, Maryland, and that it was August 14th, 1994. I started it earlier, but it took 3 years to get everything in line. And that's where the mobile medical van started. Now it's in Texas, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Arizona.
Look at you, you're a catalyst.
I just was, all I said was yes to God.
Congratulations.
I just said yes, and I was used as a vehicle. But during that process, it was more than just giving medicine. It was trying to heal, that the moment you give is the moment you receive, like that bi-directional flow of God's mercy. And so because I wasn't seeking any consolation in return, all I wanted to do was to give unconditionally. And in those many 26 years of doing that, I realized another portion that people around the world couldn't connect just by a mobile clinic, but people in their life, especially now, or who are so afraid or using alcohol and drugs to compensate for their fear or economic issues and their loss of sense, and they're also striving to have a rebirth, to grow, but they're afraid to take that step. And so the happiness is to actually help guide them for purpose and clarity, and just to know that there are two important things that happen in your life. And it was, I believe, William Barclay, he was like a 20th century theologian. He said there are 2 days, 2 events that are great, big in your life: the day you're born and the day that you figure out why. So people to connect within and be at peace and ease and patience and calm, and it's a law of attraction. Positivity attracts more positivity. You see in the world the negativity and the hate and the crime and the anger, that attracts also negativity. So we have the power of light around us. We have power, and that power is to dismantle evil and to be the light, to be ambassadors of light, and to give hope and joy. And people want to be around people who are happy and filled with joy. And there are actually concrete ways to do that. So that
You started, did I hear you say you started this 26 years ago?
the Mission of Mercy, yes. And now Fast Track to Happiness is new.
And it's spreading across the country.
It's across the country and maybe Mercy World.
Amazing. So you tell of the day when you felt this feeling and you just knew. How were you able to identify what it was?
Oh, Jennylyn, you know. And I was actually in my office. It was in 1989, and I heard being invited. You will do great things for the Lord. And then I said, "Whoa, where was that coming from?" And then I was invited by the Lord. I just literally heard him of his great love and wanting to reach out to people to know how loved they really are. That he's not just some figure of ancient days. He is a Lord that is all-encompassing love enough. Regardless of religion, his love is so immense that he suffered for us and took on our sinfulness and our sorrows through love, actually divine love. And so it was this infusion, I call it infusion of grace, because everything that is in your mind that you're thinking goes blank. And all you know is the sentiment of love, and that there's something divine that just happened. There's no question that something otherworldly happened, and I was given a choice to say yes or no. And so,
you were?
Yeah, you always have free will to say yes or no.
True. That is true. Were you like a very religious person before that? Because I know this is a question someone watching this show would be entertaining. Were you like overly religious? Some people are very, very religious, and I'm just asking if you were one of those people.
No, and I appreciate the question, and no, I wasn't. I was a yuppie, and I was the go to church on Sunday or holidays or Christmas, Easter, things like that. But no, I wasn't a daily communicator or go to mass every day, and because I'm Catholic and all that. But I wasn't. It changed though.
Instantly.
It changed where I did have a desire to go to mass more and to pray like the rosary and to go ahead and um, pray for people. And so that changed to have Eucharist daily. That changed. That made a very profound difference in my life.
I'm so happy to hear that. I am going to ask you this question because we're living in a world of skeptics, and we are living in a world where so many people call God different gods or entities or people who have been on the planet who have done good and are lights that have led them in different forms of either religion or belief systems. That we know of Buddha, and I know that Hindus believe in Lord Ganesh and some of those gods, and Christians believe in Jesus. What is your feeling about all of this? Because the common thread I have found is people believe that outside of what they believe is wrong or doesn't exist. And I find it egotistical to feel that way. I believe that each of these, any person who was on the planet that represented light and love, they're all pathways to God. How do you feel about that? So I recognize everybody's belief systems, unless it's third dimensional and dark. Then of course I don't go there, because like you, I'm a light. How do you feel about this question? What do you have to say in answer to it?
Well, I'm not a theologian. I'm not a scholar in that area. However, I do know that God is the God of the universe, and there are divine elements through different various cultures that He draws people, and there are many spiritual people that are that lead people to light, and I don't doubt that at all. Um, I just know my religion, and so I'm very proud to be Catholic. Um, but there are so many Christians out there, excuse me, that are profound leaders and have tremendous pull on the community, and I think that is all very much of God, and that's why there's communities related, um, whether Jew or Gentile or the Asians and the all the different elements, Hindus and in India. Their religions, I don't understand them. It's amazing to understand and learn about their culture, but there are profound elements of and quotes from all of these um, scholars there. So I'm not saying I doubt that at all. I do know that there is a God.
And I ask you this because what I've observed throughout my lifetime is God is love. God is one. God is, uniting and being a brotherhood and a sisterhood and just loving each other and helping each other. But throughout my lifetime, I've seen most of the wars being fought over religion and over the various philosophies, because everyone believes, well, not everyone, but most people believe that if it's not in their belief system, then they judge it, and the way
Mhm,
they judge it is in hateful ways sometimes.
mhm,
And it makes me very sad, because I believe that you can look at a person, the way they behave, the way they treat people, the way they speak, the way they act, and you can see God in that,
mhm,
or you can see his absence. And
mhm,
so, personally, I don't judge people's belief systems.
mhm,
If it's someone I see doing things to hurt other people, and I know there's a very dark dimension, I've been privy to that, because people, evil, jealous, ugly people, have tried to put out my light, and they can't do it in the physical realm, so they turn there to do it. And
mhm,
prior to it happening to me, I was judged. I judged it. People told me it was happening, and I judged it because I didn't have any experience with it. But I've since learned that you have to remain open, and it does exist. And so that's why I'm asking you this question, because so many people I've interviewed, you're probably the third or fourth, who's told me that they were called. God specifically spoke to them. They either saw him, they heard him, but there was no doubt in their mind that he had come to them and personally announced their assignment here on the planet. Because so many times we're oblivious. I know from little I had a gift that no one in my family could explain. Um, and I I started to feel sorry for myself because I couldn't understand what it was. I didn't recognize it as a good gift because it was not relatable, and no one could help me understand what was happening and what I was experiencing. And so I am very thrilled when I meet someone like you who can tell me, God spoke to me, and there's no doubt that he spoke to me. I've been producing this show going on 11 years. And I have to say, God's blessed me with some fascinating people, all walks of life. And I have conversations, and I'm interested in everyone and what they're doing and how they're making a difference for the better. Anyone doing that, I have room for them on my show. And I have to tell you, I've interviewed the co founder of Apple, the co founder of Oracle, the former mayor of San Francisco. I mean, people who are making humongous and massive changes in the world. And I noticed that my show that has gotten the most viewers is a woman who died, went to heaven, saw Jesus, and came back. So clearly, the world is curious about this phenomena. The world is curious about what happens after you die, because it's the one thing that sort of unknown, because nobody really knows right until you die.
Mhm.
What message do you have for someone who struggles with understanding God, understanding what their purpose is, or how can they identify their purpose and their
Wait,
journey?
there's a lot there that you said. Number one, God does exist. People have scattered. We need to return to God, and that's number one. Evil exists, and you need to pray for seated wisdom and know the time for silence and the time for love. When you die, you have the choice to you judge yourself. So you have to be merciful. You have to remember to be merciful on yourself. So God is merciful on you because of love. When you die, the Lord's going to ask you, how have you loved? Not all the great grandiose things that we've done, but how have you loved? How have you loved and served? I am the seventh person in the entire world that was tested for my apparitions of seeing the Blessed Mother for over 33 years.
Talk about this. I want to hear about
Oh, I know. I didn't want to go there because I knew you wanted to talk about that. But like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Medjugorje, but this is like part of, these are visions that and mystical events that happen in Emmitsburg, Maryland for several years. That hundreds of thousands of people came from all over the world. Anyway, so I was tested from the Vatican sent out a commission and tested me, and I was tested twice.
How
One,
did they test for that?
they put these probes. One, they sent me to San Francisco Hospital, had these probes on my head. And when the Blessed Mother came, they wanted to make sure I didn't have, some hysteria or seizures, or, they did an EEG. They wanted to make sure that I was fine. And then the second one was they were looking for delta waves, because delta waves are when you're like dead or sleeping kind of thing, when you're not like talking. And so they proved that. But so I can tell you, I'm very well aware that there's good and there is evil. And there is a time that we have drifted from God, and we are invited to return to Him. And I mean, there's a lot of things that have been happening, like life issue. I mean, the United States outside of China have more abortions than any other country. We have been given gifts from God. And I think maybe we need to return and look and be grateful for the wonderful gifts that we've received, and not take them for granted. But even in that process, the overall message is love. And the real love is there are things that you have to work on. For example, we're all born with statistically a happiness set point. I didn't know that. Well, there is. So if 50% you're born with a happiness set point, and the other 40% depends on your upbringing and your thoughts and your beliefs, and it can be positive or negative. If it's positive, you're 90% happy all the time. And then the other 10% is things that happen, like in your life, transitional events that happen. But we can make that difference. And we just have to tweak our habits a little bit, our thoughts a little bit. And don't trust our thoughts too often. If it's so negative, check yourself. Is that true or is that not true? Be sure it's true. And so there's a way that you can be taught on those behavioral aspects, but overall, spiritually, God is the light of your heart. And He will be with you and never leave you or abandon you ever, unless you decide to abandon Him. He will never abandon you.
As a happiness coach over the years, what would you say from your experienced and professional point of view as the difference between those people who are happy and those who are not. Because let's face it, life happens to all of us. Nobody wakes up to a piece of cake every day and life is just wonderful. We all have challenges and they come in different ways. So, knowing all of the different things that life can throw at different people, what have you seen? Because everybody's lost somebody to death or a breakup of a relationship, had somebody sick, been sick themselves. What can you share with us that would hopefully inspire someone that you have observed as someone who is coaching happiness? Is the difference?
Well, there are neurophysical chemicals within our body. And so you have to, events will happen. I'm not saying you have to be happy every time. I mean, there are events that are going to happen in your life. However, it's the law of attraction. So you take baby steps little by little, and you just go through that, and you discern it, and you work with it, and there is techniques to know that about loving yourself, knowing who you are. And once you know who you are, that clarity is there, then even in the midst of a sorrowful event, you understand that, but you still move on because you know that there is something great for you that you have to accomplish and do, and continue to be that light, to grow, to embark on this great passion. It's like walking up a path, and you leave little breadcrumbs along the way so that you embark on this path, and it will take you to where you're to go. But you have to look within, and it's may not always be a positive thing, but it will be a safe and peaceful and um, event for you, because you know that it's a temporary situation. You can always go to the mirror and for 2 minutes a day for 21 days to say all these wonderful acclimates about yourself. I'm intelligent, I'm pretty, I love, and do that, and you start to understand yourself, that you are love, and you start to love who you are. You don't need anything else. You're beautiful the way you are. And then that just emanates a love of light. And people get drawn to that. So you work through it. There are lots of little habits and changes, and how to change your thoughts, to not be something sticky like Velcro, but, to be smooth and go on to another path. It's possible.
Because you hear all these sayings about they're cliche, they sound cliche, but the glass is see the glass half full, not half empty. And, you hear all these things. And the other one is life is 10% what happens to you, 90% what you do with it. And we hear all these, if you think about it, really, if you could learn how to practice and incorporate those into your daily life, I feel that we would have so much more happiness, because life will happen. And
Mm-hmm.
there's no doubt about that. But we have a choice in what we do when life happens.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, and I'm only putting this out there because hopefully it will inspire someone, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I think what gets me through stuff is always I know God is with me, and doesn't matter what, I will get through it, because ultimately I know that I'm a spiritual being in a human body having a physical experience for a journey and a lesson, and to make a difference for others. That's what I personally believe. And that belief gets me through everything. We are almost out of time.
Oh,
So,
was that?
you are so amazing. I want
Yeah.
to do another segment with you about this test they put you through. I just want to talk about that, because the Virgin and Mary appeared at my bedside, in the midst of all the stuff that was happening to me because of what was done. She came, and this is all she said: "All will be well, my child." And I blinked. Was I dreaming? What was that? She was gone. but there is no doubt in my mind that she was there.
Well, we'll have to get together again and discuss that, because when you look in her eyes, all she draws you that beauty of love. All, and I said, "Why are you so beautiful?" And she says, "Because I love."
Well, that's what I saw when you first came on the camera. We've never met, and I turned the camera on and you were there, and I'm like, I saw this happy, bubbly person. I'm like, what she eat for breakfast? I want some.
Believe me, I have my struggles too. I suffer too. Everyone suffers. It's what you do with it. And God sees in the humility of your heart your struggles and pain. But He wants you to do something great. And there's such a great calling for the world. And people are just being sucked into different ways and dimensions of confusion. And it's time to bring them back to themselves so that they can embark on something great and profound.
Gianna, what haven't I asked you as a happiness coach? What is the message you want to leave before I wrap this up? What is the message you think people need to hear, and not just hear, but somehow bring it into their being and live their life from that message? And they will have a better life.
I'd invite them to visit fasttracktohappiness.com, and it has a lot of elements there. But the overall thing is that you're special, you're wonderful, and you're very much loved. And without you in the world, you bring a piece of that puzzle to make a beautiful artwork. So we need you, and never think that anyone doesn't need you, or you're not loved and you're not worth anything. And but you are. And I want everyone to know that it's possible to be the fiber of God's love and interface with people. I don't care what religion you are. You are born in love. And we can all embrace that, and we all have the power to do that. So that's what I want people to either one-on-one or as a group. I want to help them. I want them to see for themselves how great they are and what they can do. And I'm not talking about financial, success, and I'm talking about inner healing of peace and vitality. Because when you're whole within yourself and you're beautiful and you know how beautiful you are and loved, there's no treasure like that. And people will want that, what you have.
This is so awesome. Can you leave your website to your contact information? There are a lot of people suffering out there, especially now during COVID, and families have been forced into a whole different lifestyle. Some of them have children at home that are trying to get their education online, and the parents may not necessarily be able to help. It's really tough for people now. What message you want to leave, and how can someone watching this show contact you in case they feel like you can offer them some help?
Okay, so it's the website is Fast Track to Happiness. So fasttracktohappiness.com. And then my phone number is on there. They can contact me. They can email me, Gianna at fasttracktohappiness.com. If they want to see some things that I've done, they can go to YouTube. I put some videos on YouTube and Facebook. And it would be, I think, Gianna Sullivan, or Facebook is Fast Track to Happiness. Those definitely, I mean, I have a link that I can send you, you could put on there, but I'd have to spell it out for everyone, and I don't have it right here.
You can send it to me and I will put it in the bottom of the video.
Okay, and then feel free to contact me, and I can tailor anything of topic that they want to talk about, whether it's mind, body, heart, soul, foundation, relationships, purpose. We can, or spirituality. I have a couple of people just want to talk spirituality components. Whatever's right, what they're looking for can be tailored to them, regardless, because it's all going to come back to one reason, and that is how valuable and how wonderful they are and how much needed they are in this world.
I am so grateful to you, Gianna. I really feel you've inspired me, and I hope that you will have the same impact on everyone watching this. I always try to take these conversations to the edge. and go to the place where people dare because they're worried about judgments. I am not. I'm authentic. This is a world full of so much unknown. And so I'm not here to stay in the safe zone. I'm not here to disrespect anyone, but I will come from a place of where spirit leads me, and that's what I do.
Very well, too.
I am so grateful to you for taking this time, and I thank you for continuing to watch Conversations with Jennylyn. When a conversation is all you need to be inspired and educated, and if you've had any confusion around some of what we've discussed, Gianna has left her information for you. Please feel free to contact her, and hopefully she can provide the answers that you need. And I will see you next time with another fascinating guest. And in the not too distant future, that person will be Gianna again.
Thank you,
And
Jenny.
I will see you next time.
Broadcasting from Silicon Valley, California, this is Conversations with Jennylyn.